So today I'm going to be talking about how you can get your marketing a little bit further up your to-do list and commit to delivering it. I'm going to touch on a little story which I went along to one of these networking meetings and I met a triathlete. He was a rather special man. He was an alcoholic and decided to kick the habit, and in doing so took up becoming a triathlete, and he ended up running from Trafalgar Square in central London down to Dover, got in the water at the Channel, swam to France, got on a bicycle and cycled to the L'Arc de Triomphe. And I am going to tell you what happened to him when somebody asked him what was the most difficult bit at the end of this presentation. So, marketing goals for 2018. I'm guessing amongst you, there will be, depending on whether you're a starter or whether you're actually been in business for a while, there will be a list of things that you are hoping to achieve. And these will be typical of the sorts of things that people will be looking at. Not all of these will apply to everybody, but it will just give you a bit of an idea. Improve my website. How many people talk about their website as being their shop window? How many shop windows do you know which haven't changed in the past year? Or worse, 3 years, or in some solicitors' cases, 5 years. That tends to be quite high on people's agenda. Blog regularly. Who hasn't said, oh yeah, I'm going to do blogging, and it not happen? Start using LinkedIn properly. Everyone connects with everybody, but who's actually using it well? Contact my prospects and clients regularly instead of just being reactive to the situation. Exploit social media, because I keep hearing about it. Try video. Who isn't scared of trying video? And network effectively. Now, the fact that everybody is here today shows that you are committed at least to networking, but who does that really well, and are you going to improve it next year? Now, what I say when it comes to doing any kind of marketing is stop, take a deep breath, and first of all check what you're intending to do is the right thing. Define your optimum customer before you start. So I suggest having 3 blank pieces of paper before you do anything, and on one of them you write what your optimum client looks like. It could be Brad Pitt, but unfortunately that's not necessarily going to happen for you, but it's more likely to have it might have a particular demographic, or it might be a particular type of business you're hoping to deal with. Make sure it's the ones that you really want, not just anybody who buys a little bit from you, but the ones that are going to have a long-term relationship with. On another piece of paper, write down what drives your clients. Not what drives you, but what drives them. What's going to make their decisions, what's going to influence their purchasing behaviour. And then, on your third piece of paper, write down the benefits of using you. Now, I don't mean this to be a feature. So, for example, if you've got a vacuum cleaner, you could talk about all sorts of things to do with its price and all that kind of thing. But actually, the benefits of using a vacuum cleaner rather than any other form of cleaning is it's quick, it's easy, and that allows you to get your cup of tea sooner. So focus on benefits, not features. Right, I'm going to go through some of these things just quickly, just to give you an overview of the sorts of things you need to do. So we've talked about wanting to improve your website. Where do you start? It's a big beast. Should I be throwing it away, starting again? Well, what I need you to do is to look at your own website, and this is in your own space at home. Check that actually on the home page it says what you do, nice and clearly. Here's an example of a company which is in Watford. A modern client-focused practice. XXX is a modern client-focused practice. We have been established for 25 years and have a wide client base acting for SME clients, companies and individuals both nationally and internationally, with a particular emphasis on the property sector. Anybody have any idea what they do? And it's wonderfully repetitive as well. Who cares that they've been in practice for 25 years? Who cares about them? They are solicitors. Solicitors who really ought to be able to speak English. Use lots of view copy on every page, and by that I mean you talk about what the client wants. So if I was writing for a solicitor, I'd be saying, you will want a solicitor who can speak English and understand what I want. Okay, that's the language we should be looking for. So my little tip on you and my language on website, go through, highlight in pink all of the times you say I, we and my company's name, and in yellow go through and highlight all of your yous, yours, clients. You should have many more yellows than you have pinks, and if you don't, you've made a mistake. Go back and change the balance. Calls to action. You should have a call to action on every page. Tell people what you're expecting them to do as a result of being on your website. It should be easy to use so you can find things. So don't hide the menu under a little box somewhere and expect people to guess. Actually, have the menu where it's visible, particularly if your target audience is older and less techy. Make sure it's readable. Remember that if your type font size is very small and you've got 8 seconds to impress somebody and they've spent 10 seconds looking for their glasses so they can read it, you've wasted an awful lot of time and you've lost them already. It needs to be interesting with pictures. Pictures of people are more powerful than any other kind of picture. Pictures of people smiling are even better. It produces endorphins in your viewers who then associate that with the website. Video is very, very powerful. Great content, extremely important. Then provide some credibility, case studies, testimonials, that kind of thing. Really important to show what you have done, not what you can do. And mobile responsive, check it on all the different devices. Have a quick look on a tablet, see whether it works nicely on that. If it does not, then you need to do something about it, particularly as Google will penalise you for it now if it isn't. Now, I'm just going to show you a website, which is a real live example of somebody who came into a business clinic and said, my website doesn't work. I spent a shed load of money, professional web designer, and it looks beautiful and I can't understand why it doesn't work. Okay. This guy provides wedding cards. That looks like a funeral service to me. I mean, it's very black. Obviously, it's very egocentric because it's all about the car, which was Brian's passion, bless him. He loved his car. So it's centre stage. Nobody can read most of that, bearing in mind that this is even has been made bigger. Really doesn't work. So he came in to see me and I said, look, have you picked up a wedding catalogue recently? It's all white, it's got beautiful brides in it. Your target audience here are young women and their mothers, typically, or second-time women, marrying women. They want to be the centre of the stage, and you've put a car there, and that's not going to work. So all we did for him was turn it around fundamentally, and that's what he got. He went from struggling to get appointments because he got no leads off his website at all to being the premier supplier of wedding cards in West Sussex inside 3 months. And he just a one-off spend. As you can see, there's a telephone number, there's a testimonial. You can't see the call to action, a bit further down, and there's a U-copy for a perfect wedding. I can't read day. You need fabulous, beautiful, and I can't read the rest of it, reliable transport. So we start off with the U copy there and then go on with something else afterwards. To Google, so you need your website to be loved by Google as well. I'm just going to go very quickly through what each page must have in order to be liked by Google. 250 words per page, otherwise it doesn't really register well. More pages is better than less pages. You must regularly update it. Google is saying, if you love your website, we will love your website too. Use lots of video and have lots of links in and out. If you are recommending, as far as Google's concerned, other websites, or others' websites are recommending you, that's great for it, because that's going to keep on using Google, which is the way they make money. Don't guess what words you should use for your optimization. Do some research, and if you don't know how to do that, ask me or get a professional then, because that underpins all your social media, it underpins any of your white papers, it underpins all of your e-shots, and it underpins your blogging, underpins your website. You know, it's fundamental. It's probably the most important, if that's the most important thing that you take away for digital marketing today, is do research before jumping in. So, how are you going to get that to happen? I'm going to offend everybody in the room right now. It's like barbecuing an elephant. You can't get the elephant onto the barbecue in one go, so break it down into small, manageable chunks. Prioritise which pages on your website you should update. Do those first. Do them a few at a time. Write blogs 2 at a go, and I will come on to blogs in a couple of minutes. Write blogs 2 at a go, so you've always got something in the bank. So if you're poorly or you go on holiday, you don't need to be panicking about it. So you're always at least one ahead, and have it in reserve. Don't put them all out at the same time. Optimise your website using the keywords, or get somebody else to do it for you. And remember to ask your clients for case studies and testimonials and put them up. And just make sure there's no broken bits. Remember that a website sits in a dynamic, forever changing environment. You know, on your phone, how many times you've been asked to update the operating system. Now just imagine your website is sitting in that, and every time your phone asks for an update, that means that the environment it's sitting in may be changing and might not work any longer. So you just need to keep checking it, keep on reviewing it, and barbecue the elephant a bit at a time. Right, network more effectively. Well, I'm talking preaching to the converted here, but make sure you go to the right sorts of events so the right sort of people are there for you. Have a great elevator pitch. Think about it in advance. Don't think about it as you're filling up your coffee here. Think about it on your way. Then that way you will be able to listen to what everybody else is saying, and you're not in a complete flap. And also tell stories. Your story was absolutely lovely because it demonstrated what you did without any further ado. Follow up properly. Don't just leave here and then don't go and make connections with everybody afterwards. Obviously use LinkedIn, but meet for a coffee and have a chat and find out a little bit more about people. And go often. Get to know the host very well. This is really, really important. So I know the hosts here. And hopefully that means if anybody says, do you know somebody who could help me with my website or my marketing or my strategy? You might ask Stuart if you can't remember my name or you haven't met me before, but Stuart will say, oh yes, we had a really good presentation from Nicola, and I think she'll be excellent for you. So getting to know your host is important, and also getting to know your host might mean that you end up standing where I'm standing now, which is a great opportunity to show that you're an expert in something, in your field. So get involved, offer to help, do your bit, and make that networking route really fly. LinkedIn, 85% of prospects will check your profile before they meet you. So make sure your LinkedIn profile looks fabulous. On the internet, nobody knows that you're a dog. It was the best I could do, I'm sorry. So have a good picture, as we talked about before. Say what you do, but don't do it in third party. Say, I do this, I love this, this is what makes me tick. Show your personality. Really important to show your personality. I am quite an extrovert person. That in marketing is probably a good thing, but if I was an accountant, you'd be looking for somebody who's reliable, conservative with the way they deal with people. You're going to want somebody who's keen on rules and regulations. If you're keen on rules and regulations, you're looking the wrong person here. I hate them with a vengeance, but the young lady at the back here would be very good. So show that personality, show why coming to you would be a good thing. Give your contact details. People sometimes don't put all their contact details on LinkedIn, which means that people can't get hold of you, which is what is the point? And be open to be connected. Some people don't realise the settings on LinkedIn, which can set your settings to allow people to approach you. It is important to be approachable. What's the point of being on LinkedIn if you don't allow that? And make sure you link back to your website. You're proud of your website now, you've just fixed it. So, digital content tips. Start with your blog and build everything up around it. It's one of the best ways of doing it. People are worried about what they should put into their blogs, but very quickly, here's some guidelines on size, length, and all the rest of it. It should be helpful for your clients, otherwise they're not going to read it. Make sure it's a good length. 1,400 words is absolutely fine. If you've only got 30 words, that's fine, but any length is fine. Headings, bullets, and captions will make it easier to read. Again, use pictures, use video. Use the keywords that we talked about earlier, and make sure you have a call to action at the end. A number of people who write a blog and then forget to say, now pick up the phone and speak to me if you have any questions. And as I said earlier, some in the bank. Why should you blog? Well, the evidence suggests that on average 55% of websites which are blogging regularly will get a 55% increase in the number of people visiting. 67% more leads, and huge improvement in your SEO. So definitely a good idea. How are you going to do that? How are you going to achieve that? First of all, create a calendar of topics. Topics. What should I talk about? Well, you're going to brainstorm. It is best to brainstorm this with somebody else. Katie would help you with it. Yeah? Sit round a table, have a chat, get some ideas on the paper, but here's a few basic ones. Educate your clients, give them some top tips, something for them to read. Tell them some stories. People love a story. It helps show by example what can be done. Look at the news. Make sure you use the news. And survey results are always popular. People always want to know how they measure up with other people. So they're often in the news, so you can borrow them as long as you accredit the person you're taking it from, or do your own. And that can be quite a straw poll. Don't worry about it. So, social media, which ones should you go for? Match the social media users to the demographics of your clients. If you're in business to business, Facebook is not going to be the first one. LinkedIn, Twitter are. If you're dealing with middle-aged ladies, then Facebook is probably quite a good one. So, it's stating the obvious. Use your blog to create your posts. So then you can always point people back to read the longer thing. So it also reduces the amount of work involved. And match your tone and style to the platform. So don't take your tweet and post it onto Facebook. It will look horrendous. So write out your tweets from your blog, write out your Facebook page, posts, then write out your LinkedIn ones, all slightly different emphasis, and then use something like Hootsuite to manage them. Then there's always a group of people who really don't like social media and don't use social media at all. But you've got their email, and providing you've got their opt-in, which is white on the desks that I've asked for your opt-in, you can email them and say, hey, I've just written, dear Joe, I've just written this fantastic blog on such and such, would you like to read it? And give them something to click through. So you're reaching out on every different platform. The more you reach out, the more likely you are to succeed. Finally, making it happen. Prioritise. Start with the most important things and don't procrastinate. Promise a friend. Okay, I've got a client who's been trying to blog for 8 months and he wanted to do it himself. And after 8 months, I had a conversation with him a couple of weeks ago. He said, I'm just not getting anywhere. You've actually written the blogs and I just need to edit them and I'm not getting down to it. I said, Dan, come to my office and I will lock the door and I won't let you out until you've scheduled them. He made that commitment to me and came and worked with me. I said to him, how about doing some video, Dan? And he said to me, I don't want to do video, I'm embarrassed by video. He said, I tell you what, I'll do a video when you've got 10 videos on your website. Got 2 at the moment. This is my 3rd, got a 4th one. He doesn't know, but that was a challenge. And I've made a pact with him. When I've got to 10, he's going to make a video. So telling a friend, telling a colleague, I'm going to do this by this day, they will hold you to it. So it's a bit like going to the gym in the new year. If you go with a mate, you're much more likely to be successful in getting fit in 2018. It works for marketing too. Book time out in your diary and go to a location where you won't be disturbed and switch off all your notifications on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. Take the phone off, the landline off the hook and put your head down and get on with it. It's the only way. Any distractions and you're in trouble. Finally, accept good is enough. Good enough is all you need, to be honest with you. I've got clients who sat on writing a blog for several months on the ground that they keep on trying to tinker with it. And by the time it's absolutely perfect, they've lost their opportunity because the news item that they were responding to has disappeared. So if it's good enough, don't keep asking lots of other people their view. Ask one person. When it's grammatically correct and there's no legal complications, bung it out there, get on with the next one. Otherwise you will never really get going. So let me just return to my triathlete and the question, which was, what was the most difficult thing about training to become a triathlete? And he said, putting my trainers on, opening the door and going out. Ladies, I'll go back and explain that one in a minute. Here's your trainers, get on with it. And my little example that I've just got back, which I forgot to say, is I'm training to be a yoga teacher at the moment. And As you can see on the left hand side, there's a little person who's starting out in life to learn. The number of people who tell me I don't do yoga because they're not flexible, it's the wrong way round. You're not flexible because you don't do yoga. So everything is a journey in yoga. Your practice is a journey. The sky's the limit when you practice regularly. Same thing goes for marketing.